So, I wish I had started recording this when I started this little project, but the truth is that I was just anxious to play this guitar, so I started doing it without thinking about it much, not really knowing if it was going to work. But after I was done, I realized that it came out better than I expected, so I thought I would share it on this video because I'm sure, like me, there's a lot of people there with this problem where you have a peg hole that is way too big for your Kluson vintage style tuners. You can cover plug the hole up, re-drill it. I don't have a drill press to have very precise holes drilled. I don't have all that expensive equipment, so I have to work with what I got. When I bought my tuners, I actually went ahead and bought the StewMax bushing adapter piece that they sell, where you can use your Kluson vintage style tuners on a bigger hole by using these bushings that are wider and thicker than the regular ones. These did not work for me. They probably work for most people. My neck here is a Japanese something. It looks vintage. It doesn't have the hole up here for the truss rod, which I like. I really wanted to keep Klusons on here. I didn't want the other type that you find on American Standard. So I had this idea anyways, because the Klusons didn't, the bushes, I'm sorry, didn't work. I had this idea, and what I did is I used a wood plane, and I started slicing little slivers, little slices of this piece of pine that I have here. So basically I ended up with this. So then what I did is I managed to make a little circle out of this, basically made rings that fit perfectly inside that hole, put them in there, super glued the top of them, they're nice and flush, then flipped it over and super glued the bottom of it. It's drying now, and it looks like it's going to work real well. I have the bushing that's going to go in there, and I can show you real quick that it does fit. Oh, here we go. So then after you put this ring, I think this is about, looks like it's about 1/32 of an inch thick. I just eyeballed it with this thing I borrowed. But anyways, once I put that in there, now the bushings that come with my tuners fit perfectly in there. They're a little bit tight. I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on there to get them tight, but it's going to work great. I don't have, again, I started taping just now. I wish I had done it when I was doing it. I didn't think it was going to work that well, so I didn't. But I started doing my tests on this piece of maple. I guess it's something that you can do. Basically, the hole that I had here, I believe it's 10.5 millimeters. The bushing just, it's way too small for this. So then what I did is I used this piece of maple to test, and I made my rings out of this wood that I made with the plane. And basically I just cut them to size, using whatever tools I got. You just eyeball it, you start closing it together. The piece of wood that I use was a little bit humid, so it bent really easy. So if you're working with something dry, maybe you want to figure out a way to humidify it, put it somewhere in your basement, I don't know, whatever. I don't know enough about wood to tell you that, but I'm sure you can figure it out. So anyways, the trick is to get this piece of wood to bend and to shove it in the hole that you have. You cut a little, you cut some more, until you get it to be about the right size. I'm using this drumstick where I cut the tip off. It gives me a nice little tool so I can put it in here and tighten it. You can see here that, I have a little bit of a gap here. I'm doing this quick just to show you. I did a lot. I took my time with these, obviously, but you can see there that now I have that ring inside there that is the perfect size for my bushings to go in, which I can't find it anymore. Here we go. So once I put that ring in there, then my bushing now fits perfectly in there. It's not glued in there, so if I push too hard, it's just going to push it right out. So then once I put that there, keep it flush. I super glue the top of it. I have finish here, so you know if you work fast, you can just wipe the super glue off. It doesn't leave too much of a mark. I'm gonna polish maybe a little bit, but it's fine. It's not a problem. So you put a little bit of super glue here. You let it run in. Then you let it sit for a few seconds. Then you flip it over, and you do the other side on the inside to get a nice solid mount on this ring. And when it's dry, it looks like that. You can see it there. Again, I use this piece of maple to do some tests. I didn't want to screw up my neck, but it came out better than I expected it. So I thought, because I looked all over YouTube for tips and ways to do this. Nobody had anything like this, so I came up with the idea, and I figured I'd put it here and share it. And I think it's going to work just fine. Alright, that's it.